Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Little Amelie gets fairy dust, and my little fawn gets fairy dust. And it's time for a question for Ask an Advanced Bitch. That's me. I just want to say I have missed you, and I'm so glad to be back. And I ready to answer questions, and I'm ready to teach about what it's like to live as a CPTSD kid, as a fawn, and as somebody who is dedicating their life to individuating and advanced personal growth work. Same. Okay. Here's a question for Ask an Advanced Bitch, and that's me. And she did address it to Princess Elizabeth, which bowed down. You know, we love a fairy tale character, so thank you. Okay, let me set the stage. I'm a highly sensitive person and a former fawn. One day I decided I was done being vulnerable and I did a hard pivot in the opposite direction. I tried to crush my sensitive parts of myself because I thought that would protect me. I became somewhat callous, but mistakenly took this for progress and success. I began to view the world through a dominance paradigm. In my mind, if I wasn't on top, I would be taken advantage of. It was an unhealthy way of living, but I finally felt safe. I entered a relationship at this time. I had no business with being with someone else, but much less a person as sensitive as me or as my ex was. I ended up inflicting great deal of pain as a result of my own unhealed wounds. I struggle now with a guilt that won't leave me alone. I can't believe I did to someone else even a fraction of what was done to me. I don't know how to forgive myself and let go of the guilt and regret that haunts me. I can't make sense of the way I acted. I took pages right out of my own abuser's playbook. I feel I've stained myself permanently. You haven't. It's left a deep impact on my sense of self. No matter how I try to process and focus on doing better and moving forward, I can't shake the sense that I'm a terrible person, that I have failed my younger traumatized self. Do you have any tips from this type of experience? Oh my gosh. So the question, the subject line was feeling guilty. First of all, we can totally break this down. You're amazing. Your insight's amazing. You've done nothing wrong. Um, or another way to say it is, bitch, we all make mistakes and we all are assholes sometimes, and we all um do a thing which you did, which is overcorrect. Um, being a fawn and having this experience of being subservient, being abused, being manipulated, whatever. Um, so we're on like on a side of a continuum. And so what we do is like, of course we want to be in the center. But sometimes we overcorrect, and that's okay. That's okay. Um, so I want to just point out a few things that obviously I could relate to all of this. Um, I think that I think former fawn, I think we could say we're a fawn in recovery, but I don't think that ever leaves us. And when I say overcorrect, um, of course we would want to like be on top and be dominant or whatever. I would also say that is also a trauma response, meaning um the perfectionism thing, the like, if it's not an A, it's an F. If it's not like, I think that we all had that because we had to strive for some sort of perfection or some, criteria that we gave ourselves or society gave us, but that we held ourselves to. And so, but you mentioned I tried to crush the sensitive parts of myself. We can try. We won't be able to do that. There's no such thing as crushing the sensitive parts of ourselves. Look, I mean, I have said this many times probably, but like, I remember in therapy, like, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to take the sensitive parts of myself and I want to put it in a box and I want to bury it in the bottom of the ocean. And it's just like, ugh. part of what I'm doing is working toward into individuation, um, which is becoming whole. And it really means like just being myself, as being as fully myself as possible. And so the way I think about how you've characterized what you did was um like moving chess pieces around, or moving, moving chess pieces around, but still not feeling whole or feeling like yourself or feeling comfortable in your skin. There's something called external and internal locus of control. And so like being on top, ego, external of locus, external locus of control, meaning like the outside has to be good for me to be okay. And what we're working toward is like the inside has to be good so that we're okay. So I can totally see that. And and you said I mistakenly took this for success. I bet you there was some success as far as being whole inside of the dominance view, or being on top. Um, so let's talk about the guilt, okay? All right, look. Um, Here's the tool for you. We attract each other at our level of mental health. And so whatever you were doing, you attracted somebody at the same level of mental health. And so what that means is, I'll just say it a different way, and I'll go back to the tool, is that, I have felt this way, and people who have come to me to do their personal growth work, as a therapist, or a coach, they feel guilty for being bad. Like for me, I had an eating disorder that was raging, and I had so much guilt about being an asshole, with that, or being, irritable, or being like, um, not being myself, or spending a lot of money on food. And so, and other, random, schemes. And so, but what I can know is, and so people feel guilty for cheating, or for this, or for that, or for the other thing. And what I tell them is, yes, of course, we're going to feel bad. We're going to make mistakes. And so we either make amends, or we say sorry, or we change our ways, whatever you want to do. But do not for 1 second think that the other person is not at that same level of mental health. So in my case, I had a raging eating disorder. Okay. So, well, the people in my life were in a relationship with somebody with an eating disorder. And so if I was active in an addiction, that person or people, my partner, you could say, I mean, he was doing the best that he could, I guess. Like could have been enabling, because there's no way we do not attract each other at a level of mental health. And so a lot of times, people feel guilty about different things. So I'm not saying, oh, you've done nothing wrong, don't worry about it, here's the wave of the wand, although here is a wave of the wand. But that if we attract at our level of mental health, then that means that the person is on that level too. So whatever you were offering, including maybe being a jerk sometimes or whatever, that person was attracted to it. And so, sorry. Um, so, so you can let go of the guilt of I've totally destroyed a person, because a person who is in a relationship is signing up for whatever we're offering. And so again, you can make amends, you can feel, and I'm not saying don't feel guilty, but the way that you're feeling guilty, like it's like, oh, like we can have that like cringe feeling, or that like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that, or I feel bad about that, or I didn't say that the way that didn't come across the way that I wanted it to, or whatever. And so how can I fix that for next time? Or, I can, examine that for myself. I can look at it and decide if I want to change or not. But you have not betrayed your inner child. You have not, you are not irreparably damaged. We have all done things. There is no one out there that hasn't done something to hurt another human. It's just not a thing. And I would also say that if we have hurt another human, then we can also understand that some of that was whatever indoctrinated into us, or we learned it, or it's like the neurons that were connected that we're like, ooh, I don't want to be like that. I don't want, like one of mine was sarcasm. Like I'm really good at it. Smart and funny people are really good at being sarcastic. And I've hurt people with that, including my own fucking children. Like, I feel terrible about that. But back then, that was a way that like our whole family communicated. That was a way of being very passive aggressive. And it's like, haha, it's a joke. I'm just joking and all that. And it's like, it's actually cruel. And so what did I do? Like, you could say like, oh, I betrayed my younger self when people were sarcastic to me, a child. Okay. And I'm just not going to do that anymore. I mean, I might want to, and do the sarcastic thoughts float through my head. Yes. I do not act on them as much anymore. So yeah. So you here's the thing. This is a thought that I've had lately, is that, so I talked about external locus of control or internal locus of control. That that the way that one of the ways that helped me have and honor my internal locus of control is that my insides are the things that matter, that my self-esteem, self-worth come from me and nothing external, is my tools. And so we attract each other at our level of mental health. I'm not saying you didn't do anything wrong, but what is a person, it's so take this out of your relationship, but it's like, like a classic is an addict attracts an enabler. It's like the enabler is also doing some shenanigans. And so whatever you were doing, you were attracting that, and that person was attracted to whatever you were doing, including if it wasn't nice. I'm in my second marriage. And so my first marriage, it's like I could say like, oh, this is bad stuff that I'm doing, or this is bad stuff that he's doing. But it's like, I'm still there. I'm still like signing up for it. I could complain about it, but like I'm still signing up for it, like being um, so I can, again, make my amends or not, or be sorry, or make my peace with my psyche and my gods and my trauma responses, and, chalk another one up to being a fucking CPTSD kid. And move on with my life. And yes, I will have those cringe moments of like, ugh, like, oh, I can't believe I did that, or I wish I hadn't done that. But we can know that that whatever it was working for the other person too. And that helps me make peace with that. Again, I'm not saying not to make amends. I'm not saying not to be sorry, but we can say like, oh, that was not a good combination in that relationship. Neither of us were thriving. And yeah, so you're amazing. And it's time. And thank you for asking me this question. It's time to say like, you know what? I am so sorry that happened. I really regret that. But I do not need to go into a complex about it. I don't need to, we take what worked, and we take what we can, and then we do something with it, and then we make our life better and make the lives better of the people that are around us, and that is what you're doing. And just by asking the question means you are not permanently damaged. You are doing amazing. This is big work, to try to do any of this work and be better and be different and not live from our trauma responses is a very small percentage of people. And so you're doing amazing, and I'm really proud of you, and I appreciate you asking me the question. And so I'm sending you all the love and fairy dust, and take care and talk to you soon. Oh, another thing is you could read my book, and you may already have, but The Irreverent Trust Guide. And again, it goes back to it kind of explains um, like boundaries and relationships and how to tell. So like you could apply the ladder of trust to this situation. And it's like, oh, isn't that interesting that, these things were happening, and where was I on the rung, and where was he on the rung, and where was he above, and where was I below? And then you can like look at it, and then there's um, tools and tricks in there that may be helpful. Okay, that's it. Love you. Bye.